A Martin D18, one of the most recognizable acoustic guitars in history. Can an Eastman be as good as a Martin? Stick around, we're going to find out. So the Martin D18 dates back to the early 30s. It was originally produced in a triple O and double O style. The 18 series had been around for a while, but when they went to the Dreadnought, they decided to introduce the D18 in the early 30s, and it was an instant hit with many players across various genres. Listen, the combination of mahogany back and sides with a spruce top is so hard to beat for just that mid-range push that it has. Now, back then they used Adirondack spruce, and many of Martin's premier series or premier lines, like the Martin D18 Authentics, Martin D18, which now they don't make this anymore, but the D18 Golden Era, which was a stretch for a while, they use Adirondack spruce for the tops. But anymore, the standard series uses, they say, premium Sitka spruce for the top. So now the debate of tone woods, whether it's spruce, Sitka spruce or Adirondack spruce, is not really the topic of today's video, because I think that this is a great comparison. So this D18 actually was purchased by me back in 2018. It is a 2018 model guitar, and that series, which by the way, Martin just updated their series as of 2025. So there's a few little changes in specs, like neck carve and nut width and stuff like that. But this is going to be directly comparable to the guitar that we have today, which is an Eastman E6D with a thermocured top. Now, they both have Sitka spruce tops, both have mahogany back and sides. So I think it's a pretty, fair comparison, apples to apples comparison, since the Eastman is trying to be exactly what this is. So I'm going to play a few sound samples of each guitar, maybe play the same thing, so that you can get an idea of what the Eastman sounds like versus this. I don't know if in my last video me talking about iced coffee jinxed the weather, because it's cold again outside. And this is the kind of wind that just like cuts all the way to the bone. And I know that there are many places colder than it is here, but it's cold. The fire is roaring in the other room. And it's just, sit on the couch with fire and a cup of coffee type of weather. Which, by the way, we're back to the old mocha pot. This time, not over ice. Something about it just hits right. So here's the Eastman E6D-TC. TC stands for thermocured top, and I've done a video of this guitar before, but I didn't have the D18 with me at the time, so I thought I'd go ahead and make one where we directly compare the two. But this guitar is a great guitar for the money. This one rings in at about half the cost of the Martin D18. Since the update of the series of the D18s, they're closer to $3,000. I think they're like $2,800 street price. This series, the previous one, you can find used pretty regularly for anywhere from $2,100 to $2,300. This has a new price of around $1,200, but you can find it used for around $800. What do you think is going to sound better? Now, what I'm going to do is when I play these comparisons, I'm going to black out the screen and just show A, B, A, B, because I know, especially for me, if I'm watching something, knowing that it is something that is more premium is going to bias me toward that thing. And I think we're all subject to that. So drop a comment down below about which one you think sounds better, A or B. So let's get into it. So which one do you think sounded better? I'll say this, that Martin has an undeniable warmth that is signature to them. So, by the way, if you're wondering, A was the Martin, B was the Eastman. And let me just tell you what I think. As far as tactily playing these things, the Martin, the response of it, the warmth of it is pleasant to the ear, especially right here. It mics well, and it just records really well. What it doesn't do, this specific one, I'm not saying this is not a blanket statement for all D18s, because I've played many D18s and not a one of them are the same. They have similar qualities, but I think that's true for every acoustic guitar. Not a one of them are exactly the same as another one, even at the same model. So this has a warmth and just a sweetness that is very pleasant to right here, records really well, but what it doesn't do extremely well is push and drive well. Now, a lot of that is going to do with the setup. This is set up very light. Both of these, by the way, were set up with light strings, Diodero strings. I used the same pick for the same side for the demonstration, which is a casein pick made by Apollo Picks. Check them out, great company. But the neck on this is very shallow and not comfortable to me at all. In fact, I have offered to trade and or buy this back from the relatives that I sold it to, and now playing it again, I realize why I sold it in the first place. While I do remember it mics well, and I do remember that it records well, I remembered the neck being so uncomfortable for me to play, and I think it's very Gibson-esque, like Gibson acoustic. It feels very similar to some of the Hummingbirds and the J45s that I've played from Gibson. So that's just my gripe with it. Otherwise, most of the things are the same. So the Eastman, I mentioned that I did unslotted pins and a slotted bridge. I also have a pickup installed in this one, the LR Baggs Lyric. The neck on this one is fuller, and it doesn't have much of a V shape. I'm used to a V on my Callings has a V, and it's so comfortable to me. But this one is comfortable as well because it's just a little bit fuller. It has a little more meat on the back end. Same nut width, 1 3/4 inch. Both of them bone nut and saddles. They both ebony fingerboards. The similar style tuners. These are unbranded. I honestly don't know what they are. I mean, these are Martin branded butterbeans, and these are whatever, unbranded butterbean, I'm sure. I used to complain about how it recorded, but there's a cool trick that you can tune a guitar down a half step and then put your capo on that first fret, and you're essentially reducing the scale length is what you're doing, so it makes it a little bit sweeter. They used to make just a non-thermocured version, but I can't find it on the website anymore. So I assume they've only gone to just the thermocured tops, which is a cool process in and of itself. Look that up sometime. I'm not going to explain it to you, but this is just the demonstration of what this does compared to the Martin D18. Now, there's been other videos out in the YouTube's land that has done this type of comparison, but I thought I'd go ahead and share it. Since I had it with me, doing a little bit of work on it, I thought I'd go ahead and make a video and show you guys the real world feels, real world sounds of it. I know a lot of people like the Martin sound of just super warm and super boomy, and I do too. There's a reason why they've been in business for as long as they've been in business. But I think there's a time and a place for it. Just like everything else, though. This thing, it records well, and it also cuts through the mix well. Let me just tell you what I think. If I'm singing by myself, just a solo gig, Martin D18 all day long. If I'm playing in a band context, because everything is EQ'd differently as soon as you start introducing more instruments. If I'm in a band context, I would play this. Just because of where it sits in the mix, I would choose this. So that's my take. Take it or leave it. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. And listen, if you want to hear one tip that I have to be better, stay tuned.